All right, I'm going to go ahead and start with my little spiel so we can get started. I'm Darla Shaler, Marketing Coordinator here at Langworm and Trubit, and I want to welcome you to today's webinar. For those of you joining for the first time today, Langworm and Trubit is a mid-sized accounting firm for all business sizes. We cover a broad range of topics impactful to the construction, manufacturing and distribution, dealer services, real estate, and not-for-profit industries. This webinar will be available as a recording within a week on our YouTube following the event and will be sent to your email. This is a continuing professional education event, and you will receive 1 hour of CPE credit upon completion of the class evaluation. Following this webinar, you'll receive an email from Polera, our CPE provider, to fill out a survey and receive credit. Please submit any of your questions to the Q&A function at the lower part of your screen during the webinar. With that out of the way, I'm excited to introduce LGT's very own Senior Marketing Manager, Josh Woods, and Marketing Analyst, Katie Cook. Josh's diverse career includes more than 2 decades of service as a senior non-commissioned officer in the Public Affairs Division of the U.S. Air Force Reserve. There, he orchestrated numerous successful public relations and marketing campaigns and exhibited his design prowess on countless projects for the reserves. Upon joining LGT, Josh brought a transformative energy that resulted in a compelling redefinition of the brand's narrative. Katie joined the firm in late 2019 with several years of experience in marketing. She took to her new role in the accounting industry in full stride, and in 2021 was named AAM's Rookie of the Year. Her role has certainly evolved throughout her time at LGT, and she now manages the company's customer relationship management system and marketing surveys. So without further ado, y'all take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Darla. I appreciate it. And I'm so thrilled about today's webinar because when we had our last one about a couple of months ago, we got a lot of great, feedback from a lot of you that was like, okay, this was really great. I'm happy to understand the general, concept maybe of ChatGPT, but how do I utilize it? What do I need to do? How do I create prompts or messages within the ChatGPT platform that can benefit me or maybe benefit my business? And so we, mulled that over, and we were like, yeah, we need to have a part 2 to this this series, essentially, when it comes to this new technology that is out there. And so that's why I asked Katie to join me today. She is such a brilliant marketer, just starting right out of the gate. Like Darla mentioned, she is our Rookie of the Year for the Association of Accounting Marketers. She really knows what she's doing, and she really knows how to drive data. She's kind of our Excel wizard, essentially, within our department. So I really asked her to come on board and do some prompting later on in the presentation that really goes over some of the data-driven, prompt maybe information that you may need when you're using ChatGPT. I'm going to go over a little bit of the marketing side, some of the content writing side, really get you familiarized with what ChatGPT is. So let's go ahead and get this started, all right? So I was looking at, some quotes out there and trying to figure out what's the best way to talk about ChatGPT. Well, the CEO of Mayflower Plymouth actually came out and said ChatGPT and other generative AI platforms will have huge implications for business productivity. And we're already seeing that across the board. There are so many different platforms that are out there that are utilizing ChatGPT, that are building ChatGPT within their programs, and it's only going to get more. We're starting to see it within our own marketing software. In fact, today I was actually on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn has now started to utilize a little bit of the generative AI, and their profiles for your individual pages. So if you were able to go to your profile, you could sit there and go, I want generative AI to build out my description of who I am. That's built into LinkedIn right now. So you're going to start seeing these things built into a lot of the platforms. But what we want to try and do is get you familiarized with what ChatGPT is and how it can really benefit you going forward. Now, I'm going to actually go back in time and do a really quick overview of what ChatGPT is. I know we've got a lot of returning people coming on, but I know we have some new folks that are joining us today. So I really wanted to give a quick overview of what ChatGPT is. It was introduced back in November of last year, and it just really took off. It was viral. People started utilizing. They were like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to change the world," and it may very well do that. We don't know that. I think there's still a lot of things that needs to happen, but it has a lot of big investors, a lot of people involved that are going, "Okay, this really could save us some time. This really could help us in our productivity on a day-to-day basis." Again, you can see from the chart on the right side that it reached 100 million users, one of the fastest to reach that ever. Now, it has since been surpassed when Facebook came out with their Twitter or X version called Threads, and actually Threads actually got the fastest users at that point. But needless to say, this has got a lot of investors involved. So you're going to start seeing a lot more, and I think it's beneficial for everyone to at least have some sort of knowledge about how to utilize ChatGPT. All right, let's keep going. So since our last time, a couple months, there have been actually a lot of new updates to ChatGPT. ChatGPT has come out with some updates to their own platform, including prompt examples. They now have prompt examples at the very bottom. If you are using actually the paid version, the ChatGPT Plus, that's actually about $20 a month. I think it's well worth it. They also have suggested replies. You can now explore topics in greater detail, just with a single click instead of having to figure all those things out. GPT-4 is now the default model for the ChatGPT Plus, and now actually increased how many messages you can actually utilize in it. I think before it was 25. I think they doubled it to 50. And there also is a big rumor out there about GPT-5. They're looking at maybe that's going to come into play in, they're saying maybe summertime of next year. They don't know, but we do know that they have trademarked GPT-5. And so we know that that is on the horizon. Now you can upload up to 10 files to Code Interpreter. I'm going to talk a little bit about Code Interpreter a little bit. I'm not going to go in depth in Code Interpreter. I think that's something that I think we all should probably just kind of explore on our own. It's a very complex new plugin that ChatGPT has. Very, very powerful. You can stay logged in longer. Before it was kicking people out because they needed to make room for other users. And also ChatGPT came out with some keyboard shortcuts, and you can actually go in and through ChatGPT, find a list of all the keyboard shortcuts that you can use.
So it sounds like they're really just making things easier for the customer experience. You're not seeing a whole lot of, actual coding and processes being evolved. You're more seeing things on the user experience side.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's really, they're building a lot of it for the everyday user, I think, but I think they're really building this for the developers on the back end. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of these new softwares that are out there that is really built upon the back end of ChatGPT. And so they're building that into their program, allowing users to figure out how to get what they need. Maybe it's a particular phrase, maybe it's a particular blog article, a lot quicker, a lot faster, without having to sit there and do a lot of prompt writing within ChatGPT to get the results that they want. We're going to go over those, but just be aware that there are softwares out there, a lot of softwares that are coming out, a lot of softwares that are probably mimicking what they can do and maybe not be built as strong. So be careful of those.
Yeah, well, it's crazy because, all of a sudden we have ChatGPT and now we have all of these other apps that are coming out. So you're saying that a lot of those are actually just ChatGPT?
Yeah, a lot of those are ChatGPT, and funny you mentioned that. There's definitely different types of this generative AI programs. ChatGPT just happens to be the most popular because it's the first to kind of come out. There's other ones that are out there called Anthropic. It's by Claude. I think it's Claude, if I'm probably saying that wrong, but Anthropic is another type of generative AI just built like ChatGPT. I tried to test that out a little bit. It's really good. It actually has information that up to, I think, 2023, the current build of ChatGPT 4 is only built up to September 2021. So those are things to keep in mind when you are utilizing ChatGPT, when you're trying to prompt that information. Any information after September 2021 is not going to be there. And it's most of the time when I've done it, it will alert me and say, hey, I can only go up to September 2021. So if you're looking for data after that, I can't do that.
And so
unless
you're
you
talking
provide
about
it for you.
like the internal kind of data that it has available, kind of knowledge.
Yeah, but you were talking about the software stuff, and that's a good point too, because Microsoft, who is a huge investor into OpenAI and ChatGPT, utilize ChatGPT in their Microsoft Bing. So if you're using the Bing browser, ChatGPT 4, the 4 that is actually the paid version on OpenAI, is actually built into their Microsoft Bing program. So you are actually utilizing the latest and greatest of ChatGPT 4 in Microsoft Bing. However, I say that there's still some limitations, and you have to really start understanding how to write prompts and really getting there and utilizing prompts to understand what those limitations are. But if you are trying to find a free version that's utilizing ChatGPT 4, you might want to start utilizing Microsoft Bing as a browser because it is built in. But like she said, there are a lot of other softwares out there. There's time management softwares that are out there. You want to help your time management a little bit. There's personal assistants. I saw a AI program that is built on GPT-4 that is your personal assistant. So if you can't afford to go out and get a personal assistant, well, there might be a program out there for you to help you through that. And there's multiple other ones as well. But like I said, be aware that these things are going to be built into our programs. Microsoft has already announced that they are going to bring back Clippy. If everybody remembers who Clippy was, the little clip icon that helped you through, that's now going to be built upon the generative AI program and be put back into a lot of their programs like Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. So, all right. Let's go ahead and start getting into mastering what the art of prompts. I know you guys are waiting for this. You're like, okay, I get it.
Enough of the talking.
Yeah. How do we do this? What do we do? I am going to talk a little bit more here at the very beginning because I do want to give you a setup to what we're going to be building when we start doing a little bit more of a live demo of the program. Steps, for business context. Define your objective. So if you're trying to write a blog article, that's great. You need to figure out what that is going to be. What is the topic going to be? Setting the tone. How does it need to sound? What does my brand voice sound like? Every business has a different brand voice, and trying to figure out your brand voice is probably a good idea before you start utilizing ChatGPT. And I've got a prompt ready for when we get to live demo that you can use over and over again when you are using ChatGPT to utilize this brand voice. Specify, your task details. Give it as much information as you can. Craft, at that point, craft your prompt. And then when you do get back information, you always need to review and then refine. There might come opportunities, and hopefully today in our demo, it'll show up that way, where you're going to need to give more information, ask it more, build upon what you are trying to get out of ChatGPT. Now, once you do get that from them, I highly encourage not to use everything that is on there. Always take that back and really refine the text so it sounds a little bit more personable and a more human-like. because ChatGPT, it's great and it's getting better at sounding more human-like, but it still has that AI jargon that it utilizes. So you want to try and go back and make sure that you're reviewing that and proofreading it and editing it before you go final. Here's a little quick ChatGPT cheat sheet that I pulled together. This is the basics really of ChatGPT when you're dealing with prompting. There's a lot of other models that are out there, but I felt like this is a little bit more basic. It helps, I think everyday people to utilize it a little bit more and get in there and start really playing with what ChatGPT can do. So the basic structure is really you're going to act as a role. So I need ChatGPT to act as a specific person. Maybe it's a marketer, maybe it's a business consultant, maybe it's a website designer or a CFO. Maybe you need somebody to act like a CFO. But I need you to perform a specific task. Okay, so I need you to write. Let's say I'm a marketing person. I need you to write me a blog article that is going to be X number of words long. And I need this to be in a specific format. Maybe it's a data that you're trying to pull and you need it to be in a table format. Those are things, that's basic structure of what you want to establish at the very beginning when you are working with ChatGPT. And then you build upon there. And the good thing about that, I mean, there's not really that, I would say, magic prompt that you can use at the very beginning that you're going to get everything that you want. You're going to have to sit there and what's called linked prompting, as you're building your steps to what you really, really want. And I gave an example here. So like, for example, you're acting as a marketing copywriter, right? We want that blog post, and we send that off to ChatGPT. And we're going to do this example here in just a second. But then there's going to be another step. Then there's a step 3. Then there's a step 4. You can see I've got 7 steps already in here before I'm actually going to get what I feel is my final result. So, bear with us as we kind of go through a lot of these things. I have built some pre-built prompts, because I think what we'll do is we're going to start a little bit off as very light, very beginner-like with some of our prompt writing. And then I think what we'll do is we'll start to show you some more complex prompt engineering that goes behind it that can get you what you want and what you need. So with that, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start the process of looking at some prompt examples. Now, as we go through some of these things, by all means, please utilize the Q&A. If you've got questions, if there are things that you would like to see from us, send over those requests. We would love to see what those are. We'd love to build that into this little live demo. We love the engagement. We are marketers here, us two, and we're very much collaborators, and we love to build upon each other and build upon each other's creative minds. So please, if you have some things that you would like to see, put that out there in the chat and or in the Q&A, and we'll see if we can build that into today's stuff. All right. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm actually going to switch this over to ChatGPT, so you can actually take a look at the program, because that's what we want to look at, right? We want to see what this is doing. Let's see here. I'm trying to find my screen. There it is. Let's share that. There we go. I think we're good, Katie, right? All right, awesome, excellent. All right, so when you do open up ChatGPT, you can set up your own account. You can use, I think it uses Google as a way. So if you have a Google account, you can use Google. Once that's set up, this is basically what ChatGPT looks like. It's just kind of a blank screen with a marker at the bottom where you can start writing your messages to ChatGPT. The good thing about ChatGPT when you are utilizing it is that it uses, it definitely has been built upon a human-like interaction. So utilizing please and thank yous actually go a long way when you are in here talking to ChatGPT. There have been studies that have said, yeah, I know it's already getting there, guys. Skynet is coming. But it actually has been built that way, and it gives you better responses when you actually are using please and thank yous. And yeah, so let's go ahead and start getting started. What we'll do is let's go ahead and start trying to build something about an email. I know a lot of businesses out there, sometimes when you're such in the thick of things and you got to generate or really get into the mindset of a salesperson and try and do some cold calling emails to potential clients that are out there. And you can put that screen up and put that email up and you can go, oh my gosh, I have no idea what to write. I'm not really a writer, and I'm probably not gaining the right engagement from the end user that I should. And I think that's where the ChatGPT comes into play, and that's where it's going to help you get across that hump of a blank stare at the screen and trying to generate some new writings. What happens when we start putting in these messages into ChatGPT? ChatGPT is built upon this complex, model, and it's taking what we're going to put in and break it apart as what's called like tokens. And those tokens are then, what it uses to try and figure out what the context of what we're trying to get out of it. It then takes all of its learning, that it's been built upon and tries to create a prediction of the response to your message. At that point, this is all simultaneously, folks. At that same time, it's then decoding what what that message should sound like, and simultaneously sending it over to you what the best result it feels you should have. Now, that's where the inaccuracies come into play. There's a lot of times where it's not giving you the right information, and it gets a little frustrating when you're going into ChatGPT trying to get what you want and it's not giving it to you. Sometimes it could be just the program itself is not built, to understand it yet. Also, it could be, from the prompt exam, the prompting that we actually build into it, or the details that we build into it. It may not be enough for it to give back what you want. So let's go ahead and get started. I know I said that probably 3 times, but let's go ahead and get started. Let's do a little cold call prompting for, let's say we're a high technology company, right? We want to figure out a way to, engage with a prospect that is out there. So whenever I come into ChatGPT and I get started, I want to make sure that I'm following those basic structure that we talked about earlier, right? So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, hello, I need you to create, actually, let's go back. I need you to act as a salesperson and create a sales email that is focused towards prospects looking into high technology software built around AI. All right, so I'm going to start there. Let's start right there. So I've got my, I got them acting the way they want. I need them to create a sales, right? I need them to do this task. And I have the format, right? It's an email. So I'm going to see what ChatGPT can do for us right now. You can see it's already starting to build out that email. It's already given me a subject line. I didn't even have to ask for a subject line. It already built that in. It's also giving me the spots for if I need to personalize this and put a name to it. But you can also see that it's working pretty quickly. I would say within a few seconds, we're going to have a really nice long email because we did not specify what we actually want. I think that's one of the things when you are working in ChatGPT. If you need something to be shorter, you need to specify what that is. Hey, I need, this is a really great email you built for me. However, I need this to only be 150 words, right? So you can see from here, I have a really great email. It's got a lot of great information, but that's probably too much information for the recipient who's going to get this. So I can build upon that, right? That's linked prompting. This is great. However, I would like this to be shorter, around 150 words. It's going to think about it. It's going to say, yes, I can do that. And then all of a sudden it's now cutting down what it had originally created. So you can see how fast and efficient this program is generating something, at least a starting point for you when it comes to ChatGPT, or I mean, when it comes to what you're needing, whether it's just an email, whether it's going to be something else. It's all really at your fingertips at this point. So you can see right there, now it has shortened it. It looks great. Yeah, that sounds really good. However, I'm going to now copy this information. You can do a select. There's also a version up here where you can do a copy icon right up here. You can see my mouse. You can just do a copy and paste it into your Outlook, then start refining your messaging and putting it and making it more personable.
Now, this may be a weird question to ask, but when I take that email and copy it into my Outlook, is it going to keep that formatting, or am I going to have to reformat everything?
Yeah, that's a good point. When you are pasting anything from anywhere, I think a lot of folks have probably seen this. If you're copying something from a website and you're bringing it into a Microsoft program, whether it's Word or Outlook, it's going to keep that same format look that it came from the website. Good rule of thumb is to go into, before you paste, go to edit and say paste. I think it's paste to matching style or paste as matching style, within the program. And then it's just going to pull it in as within the Outlook format. So good question. Yeah. All right. So hopefully everybody got a little bit of taste of what ChatGPT can do here. This is very simple, down and dirty as far as an email to get the ball started for some sort of cold calling, right? You can utilize this for anything. It could be, it's really hard to write maybe condolence, emails, those type of emails. Those are really hard. Maybe it's hard to come up with that breakup email to a client or to somebody else, that your business has dealings with. It's the same, thing as everybody talks about. You hate being broken up by text. Don't ever break up through a text message. Don't ever, break up through an email. But honestly, as a business, we usually utilize that to submit maybe sometimes those not so nice emails across the board. But it is really hard to really generate that information and to come up with what that's going to sound like. So that's where I think ChatGPT can help from a content standpoint.
Someone did give us an example in the Q&A of writing as a copy or a marketing copywriter to create a re-engagement email for someone that hasn't engaged in 30 days. And Terry, you did do that right. I think that that topic is, or that prompt is really great. I would just suggest, making sure that you include a word count of around blank to blank characters. And I think that it could definitely come up with something, because a lot of the times you see those emails are the exact same. So you could get something interesting maybe from ChatGPT.
Yeah, you definitely can. I mean, and again, I'm going to say this, it depends on how much information you provide ChatGPT is what you are going to gain out of it. If you're going to say, create a, act as a marketing copywriter and create a email about, I don't know, cats. Well, it's going to give you all information about cats. Rather than giving more of a specific, point of view of, okay, I need you to talk about cats, but it needs to be a specific cat. Maybe it's a Siamese cat, and it needs to be black. It needs to, it likes to be friendly. It likes, whatever information that you can help the program to go out and find the right information that it needs to give you what you want. Really, there's a lot of great resources out there when it comes to what they call prompt engineering. I think that's the trend now of the saying, to help you through any sort of, idea that you have. I'm going to try at the very end of this. And actually, we were talking about this right before we got on here, is that we want to try and create a ChatGPT cheat sheet for everybody who is attending today. And we're going to provide you some of the prompts that we are providing today, along with maybe a few extras that would help you out. And within that, I'd like to try and provide you a few resources that I've found to be helpful on my end, whether it's people that I follow on, it's not called Twitter anymore. It's called X. Maybe it's on X, formerly Twitter, or
Twitter.
Other social. I know it's always going to be Twitter to me. Yeah. I'm sorry. Or it might be on a different program or a different website. There's a lot of great newsletters. People are really getting into this heavily, and they have built out a lot of great prompts, complex prompts to help you out. All right. So let's look at maybe something of that, right? Let's look at maybe doing a blog post. All right, let's get a little bit more complex when it comes to generating the right blog for you. Due to time right now, I am just going to show you something that I may have built out earlier, and we'll just kind of go through the steps so you can see what the end result came out to be. What I did, and I'm going to share this also within the chat, the cheat sheet, is it's always nice to really build at the very beginning with ChatGPT who you are, what your writing style is, what your voice sounds like, so it understands when it responds back that it's writing in that specific style. So I found that this has been very easy for me to really stay within our own firm's brand voice, because we have a brand voice. We built it out. We have examples out there. And for me, putting that in at the very beginning has been super helpful with the results that I get. So I always try to start with this. I'm telling it, okay, in the following prompt that I'm going to give you, I want to, here's my voice. I want it to be clear. I want it to be concise. I want it to be professional. I want it to be well-informed, right? But I also want to be friendly. I don't want it to sound too robotic. I need it to sound a little bit more human-like. So it's going to sit there and tell me, got it, great, wonderful. What do you need? Okay, so now I'm back into my linked prompting. Here's what I want. I want you to act as a marketing copywriter. Here's that example that somebody put in the Q&A, right? The marketing copywriter. I would like for you to write a blog post about a recent trends within the marketing industry or the manufacturing industry, using our tone of voice that is approachable and engages readers, right? So I'm giving it that specific information that I want it to pull from. I'm now, my next line is I'm giving it who my target audience is going to be. I think it's super important to include those things within your prompts at the very beginning, so ChatGPT understands who it's writing to. It's just like when you're presenting anything, right? You want to know who your audience is and present to that audience in that particular tone and voice, and the information is right for them. I want you to write in the personal style, right? Using singular first person pronouns. I want you to include these subjects throughout the article, right? Have to give it some more information. That's where this is coming to play. I want you to talk about investing in skills to tackle workforce challenges. Now, I looked these things up earlier, so to help me out. AI automation, right? And internet things that are manufacturing is dealing with. Ongoing supply chain disruptions, ESG and sustainability, right? The green effect, decentralized manufacturing. All right, now I want to format your response using Markdown. Use headings, subheadings, bullet statements, bold to organize the information. So I want it to build it out in a way where I can look at it and I don't have to go back and put something back in. All right, so it says, yes, I can do that. Here you go. It already gave me what the best title it can possibly give at that point in time. Now we can go back in and say, okay, this is great. Now I want you to create me 10 other subject headlines that is going to generate engagement with the audience. This is super important if you have, if you're trying to really get yourself as the subject matter expert in your field. This helps when it comes to when you're putting a blog post on your website to get Google to come in and say, okay, these guys are good. I'm going to push them up on the rankings. So with that, I have a headline now. It's already built it out. It gave me a starting paragraph. It's already built out what each section is going to look like based on those keywords that I already gave it. It broke it out into concise, short bullet statements, which is what I wanted. That's what I said at the very beginning. And it's all built out right there with my conclusion. Now, I want to say, okay, provide another response using paragraph form, because it did only give me a few short, bullet points. But I wanted to now go in and start building out a little bit more extra. You can see when I did that, it didn't really give me what I wanted. It still stayed clear and concise, because at the very beginning, when I was talking about my tone of voice and what I was asking from it, I did tell it to do it that way, and that's what it was trying to do. So the best way is to go back in and start really writing and saying, okay, please rewrite this, with more information, and create a, let's say, 1,200 word blog. Boom. Now it's going to start doing it.
So several people have asked in the Q&A, is there a way for ChatGPT to save your target audience or to save the tone of your brand? Can it store that for future use instead of you having to input that information every time?
Yeah, I haven't seen it on my end when it comes to that. I think it's good to really save these things. What I have done is created a Word document with all of the ChatGPT prompts that I felt has worked out really great for us, and just building a category or a catalog of different prompts that I can then just copy and paste and put in at that point in time. You can also, over here, you can see on the left side of my screen, it is saving all of my chat history. So everything that I've built up. So if you do want to go back, into a previous one and copy and paste, yeah, do that. You can keep it there. If you are concerned about, keeping chat history out there in the World Wide Web, because that's what this is, it is out there for ChatGPT to learn from. There is an option in your settings. If you go down to your settings down here and you go to settings, there is an option to clear all your data. You can also turn off your chat history and training, so it
won't keep that.
So it's not right. So it's not keeping your history. It's not keeping all that information, especially if you're concerned about if you're putting maybe a little bit too much information about your company out there that maybe should be private. Again, I highly encourage everybody, do not put anything that is going to get yourself in trouble, get your business in trouble.
On kind of the other side, I do think that there is a potential capability that in the future, that could be maybe a setting that they save. I think, that's a little bit too much than the program can handle at the moment.
Maybe, and it may be a future version that's going to come out. I know back at the beginning, I talked about GPT-5 that's going to maybe come out in 2024 summertime. I actually have heard something else. They're probably going to come out with a 4.5 maybe in summertime of 2024, and they're looking at GPT-5 maybe in 2025. But I do think that there's some nuances there that they have already come out and talked about that they're going to build upon the program to help the user a little bit easier. So yes, I'm hoping, let's cross our fingers, that something like this is there. Okay, last thing before I'm going to really turn it over to Katie, because I want her to go through her stuff, is let's say you have a business and you want to create more social media presence out there. You have a social media site, it's not doing very well. You don't have anybody who's going out there and posting anything on your social media. You don't really have any ideas how to post out on social media. Well, that's where ChatGPT can come in and help. There are really great prompts that are out there. Let me refresh my screen here real quick. There's really great prompts that are out here. This is one that I found that has been fantastic with generating what you need. It's going to give you an initial post that for you to utilize and that it's building upon. And it's also going to build upon ideas for you for the next month. So that's what I love about this stuff is we're not sitting here trying to figure it all out, spending hours upon hours trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do this month? What's this social post going to be? What's this social post going to be? This is where this thing can help you out. So again, at the very beginning, I start talking about my tone. And then I'm going to talk about, I want you to act like a social media manager. And I want you to create a social media post to these platforms. I need you to promote a specific nonprofit organization with their mission statement. You can see I added in what their mission statement is. And then we want our post to be informative. We want call to actions, for donations. I need it to focus on it being aesthetically pleasing. Don't be clickbaity. I need you to capture the attention of the current and new followers, and then be creative, unique, and have some witty fun. I also, what's really great about social media is the hashtags. I think hashtags are super important when it comes to social media. So including those is really good. And then based on all of this information that I told you, I need 5 posts a week for a month. All the posts should utilize varying verticals. And it did it. Within I think it took it 30 seconds to really build all of this information out on the screen. It gave me everything I need. It gave me, okay, a picture that I want to gather. Now, you can go out and find a picture to utilize in your Instagram, but there also is built into ChatGPT what's called, I think it's a plugin called Midjourney that is a image creator based on the information that you provide within ChatGPT, which is kind of cool. It also gave me the caption, what it needs to be. The LinkedIn, Facebook, and then the content calendar going from week 1 to week 4. So it's already building out what I want to do for that next month as it's going through all the information that I provided for it at the very beginning, which is very, very exciting. So, all right. I have spent a lot of time on the content section. There's a lot of other stuff out there, guys. I highly encourage you to go out there and just do a quick Google search. I know Google has their own platform, which is called Bard, that they're building into their own stuff. But just do a quick Google search if you're trying to figure out something like what's the best prompt, and then build upon that. And if you don't like what you have, keep asking it questions, until you get the right results that you want. All right, Katie, I am going to turn it over to you. I think
Well,
you're on mute.
Josh, it is
Okay.
totally fine that you took a little bit more time. My computer just turned off.
Oh,
And
no.
lucky for y'all, we're all in the office today. And I just came to Darla's computer. So, technology is just lovely. And I really appreciate Darla letting me steal her computer for a moment. So if you'll just give me 1 second, Josh, if you want to take a look at the Q&A and see if there's any questions in there that we've missed and you want to
Yeah,
answer,
absolutely. Let me look at that real quick, and I'll do that. There's some really great information here. Is the program capable of creating something as long as, say, a 300-page novel? I think there is a limit on what it does generate. I think that's the how it's been built upon. I don't necessarily think that it can do a 300-page novel. You might want to break that down into sections and see, how that
oh,
goes.
definitely.
That
would be hard to
actually doing
edit as
300
well.
pages. Right, exactly.
I think you could definitely do it if you separated it into like different chapters, maybe.
Yeah, that's the best way to write a book, anyways, right? You break it down into who, what, when, where, and each chapter that you're trying to get across. So, I like this other one. Do we use ChatGPT in our firm right now? Yes, we do use ChatGPT in our firm. However, we do have a policy put in place at our firm to protect not only ourselves, but to protect our clients and our clients' information. So rest assured that is very, very secure and it's behind some really great firewalls there. Great question.
All right. Well, I can take over for, a couple minutes. My section is going to be a little shorter. A lot of people actually think that ChatGPT has the capability to, go into your spreadsheet and really give you a deep dive data analysis. To do that, it's really hard. There's not a capability at this current moment to be able to put your Excel data or spreadsheet into the program itself. So, I asked it, hey, can you give me a review on the spreadsheet? And this is kind of the answer that it gave me. So you have the ability to describe what's happening and what you want the outcome to be. So maybe I used this example earlier today. Maybe you have 150 employees and you want to see, or you want the program to do an analysis of how many people got a 5 out of 5 on their annual review and what departments they're in. It can help you figure out either a formula to implement in your Excel worksheet, or if you want to put that data into the system itself, it'll give you a written out answer to distribute. Should you use that data analysis and copy and paste it into an email and send directly to your boss? No. You definitely need to review that material beforehand to ensure that it's actually accurate and that it's not plugging in information that it's assuming. It will do that. It will assume things. Luckily for you, it will let you know that it's assuming it. And so you can make sure that you correct it and say, oh, please don't assume that. That is not the case, and hopefully it will change. You can edit your prompt. So let's say it assumed you had X, Y, and Z. Just edit your prompt to say, please don't assume this. And it looks like I'm having some issues getting my actual example up.
I think if you hit refresh on there, it might come up for you. one thing that she is talking about when it comes to this data information, it's really great, and it's going to give you some of this coding. You see right there that she has a little code right there that's built out into ChatGPT. I talked about earlier about Code Interpreter. This is a new plugin within ChatGPT that is it's a game changer. Honestly, you can sit there and input images, actual images, actual full PDFs. Say you want it to analyze this PDF, it's going to go in, it's going to read this PDF, and it's going to analyze it and give you back responses. So that really helps when it comes to that recent information. Remember, it only goes to September 21. It can help that if you have some more updated data points that you want it to analyze. And when you're trying to generate some new data points within Excel, let's say you don't even know what the oh gosh, what
an
the
example here.
code is. Yeah, it can actually build that all as well. Yeah, go ahead, Katie. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was trying to help you
you're
out
fine.
there.
I would say generally just talking about the code interpreter and putting new information into the system. If it's not something you would be okay with being publicly available on the internet, I would maybe consider not putting it into the program, just because you don't know how it's going to use that information in the future, if applicable. One thing I really enjoy personally about it is its ability to help you with Excel. So let's say you're kind of newer to Excel and you want to learn how to create formulas, or you just want to, you are pretty a veteran when it comes to Excel, and maybe you're having like an off day where you're stumped. ChatGPT can give you exact formulas to input into your Excel. And I'm really sad because my Excel is on my computer. It was about dogs and different types of dog breeds. So I've asked ChatGPT to give me an Excel formula that will show me the population growth of dogs from blah, blah, blah. And you notice that I gave it exact specifications. So the population growth needs to be in column E, and the population of dogs is in column B, C, and D. You have to be very specific when it comes to the location of items, because you have to talk to it like it's a toddler. If you don't do that, you won't get an accurate formula, and you'll get an error in your Excel. So it'll, say what it's assuming, and then it'll actually explain the formula to you. So this goes into the learning aspect. It's not just going to give you a formula and you're not going to know what that formula is doing. It's going to explain it to you. So maybe you could do it in the future without ChatGPT's help. This could be really helpful when doing VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP Excel formulas, to show you kind of the range of different data points. Maybe you have a list of NAIC codes for companies that you are that are your clients, and you want to know a breakdown of what company is in which industry. You can do it. You can do that. And I feel like I can probably talk about this for days and days. So
yeah, I think you're onto something there, Katie, though, because this is really great. I think from ChatGPT standpoint, and I didn't talk about it in my section, from a research standpoint, how ChatGPT can really help you, gather all that information, just through a few prompts in the program, rather than you having to sit there and go, okay, Google, I'm looking for this, and then you're reading all these different articles. And then trying to generate your own research based off of those articles. The ChatGPT, it can really pull that information for you, maybe even some of those data points that you need, and set up, that format. Remember, with format that you want in a table format that you can then bring over into Excel. Katie, you brought up a good point about the coding and the VLOOKUPs, and how it can create a lot of those summaries for you. within the program and tell you exactly step by step how to do it within Excel. I have seen a lot of those. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And just kind of as an example for what Josh was saying about research. So let's, you can't exactly find this on Google, but maybe you want to, and it's not really generating. So this is an example, a live example of maybe it's not going to generate what you were really wanting it to generate. And that's okay. You can always tell it to stop generating when you're like, oh, you're going way off topic. Let's see, let's try that again. And can you give me a list of the top 10 construction? And then you see what Josh was mentioning about the cutoff of data.
Yeah, it will give you a warning if there are data points that you're trying to pull. It's going to say, hey, I can only go up to September 2021. So if you're trying to pull any more information, you're going to have to feed me more. So, maybe it's research that you pull on your own, or you have ChatGPT pull, or another program like Bard from Google, because I know Google and Anthropic, they have their programs are built up to, I believe, January 2023. So they have more recent information that they probably could pull. So yeah, you could probably pull from there and then bring it back in.
Options are really limitless.
Yeah, it really is. All right. Well, hopefully this was super helpful for everybody. Yeah, there's a great point here. I'm going to say something real quick from the Q&A. There's somebody put out there, be careful with the hallucinations. ChatGPT can make up data sometimes. Absolutely. You have to, like I said before, double check what ChatGPT is doing. There was actually an article, I think I talked about it last time, where there was a lawyer who used ChatGPT to pull past what was it, rulings, and it just made up all of these different rulings, and it used it in a federal court case, and they came back and were like, yeah, those aren't really cases that those are made up cases. So again, it's super important when you are utilizing ChatGPT that you double check, triple check the information that it's providing you. But I think the great thing about it is that it does cut down the productivity, timeline that you have. It can really get it started for you. Cutting down the time it's going to take maybe for somebody else doing it, or spending hours upon hours, trying to generate and creative new ideas. It is a powerful tool. I think it's going to only get more powerful as it's being introduced into some other programs, as I mentioned earlier.
And as Terry said in our chat, it did pass the bar exam. So it's smart.
Yeah, when it did the 3.5 version, and it did not pass, but when it introduced it in the 4.0 version, that one actually did pass. Oh, the bar exam, yes. But I'm talking about like the CPA exam, actually.
Oh,
it actually passed the CPA exam as well, but it didn't pass in the 3.5, it passed in the 4.0 version. So it's pretty intuitive, it's pretty smart. I think it's here to stay. I think we've all got to get smarter at utilizing it. It's just similar to the latest and greatest that's out there. When we had websites that came on board, businesses had to shift. I think this is something that as businesses we've got to shift and introduce this into our daily lives. And how do we utilize it, and how do we get in front of it? So
I think just the most important thing is just to be patient with it, and really cultivate whatever answer you're looking for. And you'll get there eventually. It's not just as simple as a click of a button, unfortunately. I do see 2 people with their hands raised in our chat. So if you have your hand raised and you have a question, please put that into the Q&A function, and we'll get that answered.
Yeah, so we are butting up against time here, Katie. So for those of you that do have questions, please put those into the Q&A. We are going to look at those later. We'll try and do our best to respond to you. And like I said before, we do have a ChatGPT cheat sheet that we're going to provide everybody who's been on this webinar with us today. So be on the lookout of that. And then get out there and play. Get out there and take a look at it, utilize it, and hopefully you can find out how it can work for you and your business. So with that said, thank you, Katie, for joining me. Really super helpful for me to have somebody help me. And hopefully everybody out there has got some information that can help you going forward. And we're always here to answer any questions that you may have as well. So,
yeah, so
with that being said,
if you have any questions, you can contact us at askus@lgt-cpa.com. This webinar is available for CPE credit, and you will receive that email from our CPE provider, Prolera. And you'll also receive a copy of this webinar presentation. So maybe you want to go back and see all of Josh's cool prompting. You can do that on our YouTube. If you have any questions, like to set up a free consultation, anything like that, you can contact us. So thank you so much, Josh. And I hope everyone else has a great rest of the day.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.